Welcome back. Today we continue a very special series for those who are fighting right alongside men in this space to get the word out that men actually matter, despite what society says. Here's part 2 of the best of Sara, Eaton.
We talk about how hard it is to leave the good guy. When you say, I want a divorce, and he's like, no, I want to work this out. Everything's going to be fine. We can get through this. And he's so encouraged.
I will genuinely never understand this mindset. But of course, this is like a 2-minute video. So what else does she have to say?
Everything's just so fucking peachy keen, right? We talk about how I'm manipulated into staying because he's a good guy. He does nothing wrong. Like, the only thing he's guilty of is being lazy and, not putting in effort like we did when we were in the beginning of our relationship, like any other marriage. He doesn't beat me, he doesn't do anything.
Women fall in love with the process of falling in love, and sometimes not even the person. Let me explain. The majority of women fall in love with the romantic side of a relationship where he's courting you, he's taking you on dates, maybe he's getting you gifts, he's putting in all of this effort to get you, and you expect him to continue this effort when life smacks you in the face, and it's an unrealistic expectation. Women have been brainwashed into believing that it's supposed to be Disneyland movie all of the time, and he is supposed to spend 95% of his time making you happy alongside working 60 hours. Maybe you added some kids in there, maintaining a house, and all of the things that they don't show you in a Disneyland movie. And the other part about it is so many women sit on the internet all day long and see everybody's highlight reel of what relationships are supposed to be like, so they start to believe that the grass is supposed to be greener on the other side. It is not manipulation if a man wants to work out a relationship with you. You should be thankful, because the majority of men that have an ungrateful partner at home would leave your ass and leave you with absolutely nothing and not want to try at all. And I can promise you the dating scene that you think is going to be better is not going to be. It's the same story every single time. These women put unrealistic expectations on the men. Well, they still don't put in the same effort. They're not having as much sex. Maybe they're not cleaning the house as much. They're not even doing the same things they did to get a man, to keep a man. And the biggest mistake that women make is that they don't go for compatibility, or if they even like this person, they're so focused on, oh, he bought me flowers. Oh, he took me on a date. Oh, he spent $500 on me. They are never looking at the person for who he is rather than what he's doing in the relationship. And then they fuck themselves because they wake up next to somebody after 10 years and they're like, who the fuck did I marry? Because we don't get along. I don't like anything about this person. The person that he really is isn't the person that I fell in love with. And it's because you fell in love with the idea of him and not for who he actually is. Okay, bye.
So we're off to a very strong start. Most modern women don't have a clue, and they don't want to have a clue about what a real relationship looks like. They don't want to do the work. They want to sit around and be lazy whilst calling other people lazy. They want to set unrealistic expectations on others while not even being able to keep one expectation fulfilled for their husband. They give their husband nothing in return but expect the world. Modern women logic.
My boyfriend broke up with me because I forgot to send him his daily allowance for his soft guy era of $5,000. I only sent him $2,000, and he told me that it was giving broke, and he deserves so much more. Last week, I got him a new Lexus, and he told me that kings don't drive Lexuses, that he was expecting a Mercedes-Benz S-Class, and that it wasn't good enough because he knows his worth. And of course, I don't love him enough if I don't understand that. Last night, I tried to plan a date to Bonefish Grill, but he told me only Capital Grill, so he made me pay for an Uber to take him home because he absolutely refused to be there with me. He told me he only deserves the best because his mom always gave him the best, and he deserves Prince treatment all of the time. I planned a trip to Hawaii, but he expected first class and a trip to Hong Kong and Bora Bora. And because I didn't come through, he told me that I wasn't good enough and that if I really loved him, I'd spend more money on him. The other reason he said he broke up with me is because I only sent him $100 for his maintenance when really it was $500. And he told me that I'm so broke because I can't afford his basic maintenance and that he's a king and he needs to be well maintained if I want to date him. The other reason he broke up with me is because after working 16 hours a day, I didn't have food cooked and on the table for him like a couple nights ago. And he told me if I wanted to, I would. And that I just didn't give a shit about him because I didn't have it ready. Obviously, I didn't love him bad enough. And that's my bad. I should have known better. Okay, bye.
This video is from the Drizzle era, and it's pretty easy to see why it got 1 million views. There's no other lady, possibly, that the women hated like Sara. Out here, not reciprocating energy, she's going to call you out. Out here disrespecting men, going to get called out. Not catering to men, going to get called out. We need more women willing to call other ladies out who are on their worst behavior. Drizzle, baby.
Is this not what women have been fighting for? Equality, screaming at the top of their lungs their independence. So why do you need a man to get up and give you a seat? You should have been there on time like a man to find your own seat. Or do we get to nitpick and choose when men are supposed to respect us or nitpick our equality? Is it not weird that she's randomly recording strangers on the subway? Because if a man were to do this, he'd be looked at as a creep or a pedo. And the reality is, taught men that there's no good answer. And what I mean by that is if this man gets up and gives you a seat at any point and looks in your direction maybe the wrong way, he's considered a creep. If he gets up and maybe his arm sweeps against your leg, he can be looking at sexual harassment charges. If he stands there while you sit down and says, hello, how was your day? Then guess what? He could be exploited as internet content and be the next creep or the next men or trash content. And does he want to risk that? If he happens to be getting off at the same stop as you, then guess what? You could accuse him of following you. And that might be even worse for him. And because men can't distinguish the false allegation girlies versus the normal girlies that still want respect, guess what? They treat us all the same. So thank you for that. Okay, bye.
Radical feminism is kicking these modern women in the behinds. They think they've made progress, but actually they've gone backwards by about 3,000 centuries. Little do you know that all of this foolishness that you're talking about equality is not going to get you anywhere, especially with men. But of course, we have to deal with modern women logic.
Women are jealous of men, and women are jealous of the simplicity of a man. Women will openly acknowledge that when they met their significant other, he lived with an Xbox, a TV, and a sofa, and he was happy and content. But they fail to realize how much they upgraded the lives of their wives by the bigger car, the bigger house. And it's almost like these women have a sense of entitlement because if it were up to the men, they'd keep that same sofa, that same TV, and keep a simple life, which is why it's fucked up. So women can openly acknowledge that it came from nothing, but they very rarely appreciate everything that they have. These women will actually get frustrated at how simple their husbands are because they just don't understand it. Men can rotate the same 3 t-shirts for 3 months in a row and not give a shit. They can wear the same pair of jeans every other day and not give a shit. Men have lifelong friendships without any drama because they don't give a shit. Women, on the other hand, are constantly comparing themselves to other women, and they oftentimes put their happiness in the hands of their husbands or their spouses. And when their husbands fall short, now he's a piece of shit. But the reality is that comparison is the thief of joy. And because these women are so unfulfilled and they're looking to their husbands to fulfill every single need, they can't understand why the men in their lives don't need more. And you just can't convince me that women aren't jealous of the fact that men are happy with the bare minimum because women are constantly chasing this idea of happiness based on other people, and men just don't do that. Okay, bye.
A man will buy a mansion for his wife, a Bentley, quite literally anything that she wants. Yet she will still be in there griping, complaining, and moaning about him playing his $1,000 PlayStation. Modern women logic.
Welcome to the late night circus where you could be a freak on purpose. Under the sheets, you know I'm lurking.
A man will sacrifice his life for his family, while a woman will sacrifice her family for her feelings. So true. These modern women will give up anything in pursuit of their goals. Literally, how many TikTok videos have you seen of women saying that I had to leave my family, my children, and my husband to make myself happy and pursue my dreams, visions, and goals? Darn those kids. Darn that good man, that provider man. Once again, we see modern woman logic on high 4K display.
How the fuck is it fair that women have the choice to leave their marriages, some of them even cheat, and now the ex-husband has to pay her way and essentially maintain two households because of her choice? How the fuck is that fair? And how the fuck is it in the best interest of the children for a dad to try to maintain two households and he's so strapped for money because mom's household is the fucking priority? Like, there's no freaking way that this is fair. Why the hell, after a divorce, is mom so prioritized and the dads are consistently shit on, even though their household is equally as important? Make that make sense. These fathers are never considered in the same capacity for their standard of living as the mothers. And women will always claim it's about the children, they need more, and they claim to need all this freaking money, but the reality is that these women are expecting these men to give them a fucking income. It's called support for a reason. But not only that, is she actually has the audacity when she gets that child support number and it's $130 to actually say, what about my rent? Like, he is not responsible for your rent. If your ex is responsible for maintaining his own household, his own bills, his own utilities, then you are expected to give 50% of your portion as well. It's not rocket science. It's a hell of an incentive to leave your family and disrupt your family and have a broken home, knowing damn well that your ex-husband is responsible now for your standard of care. The fucked up part about it is that if these men decide to get a better paying job or get a promotion, these women actually have the audacity to take them back to court to modify their agreement. What's actually hilarious is how many women will get so bent out of shape when he asks to provide proof of where the money is going, because we all know damn well she doesn't need as much money as she claims. And the reality is that these men really only have two options. They can drown themselves in debt to fight a situation that's up against them to begin with, or they can forfeit and be considered a deadbeat. Okay, bye.
These modern women will take zero accountability for the bad decisions that they make and will want a man to cover up every single thing that they have going on, regardless of if it's stupid or not, regardless of if it benefits him and the kids or not. Just make me happy, and then maybe I'll look your direction and give you a peck on the cheek here and there. What kind of life is that for a man to live? These modern women want men to pay for their lifestyle, even when they make the decision and the man has done nothing wrong, to leave him. What type of life is that?
It's so crazy when you really think about it, the way that society has set up men to feel useless and undervalued. But the minute that a catastrophic event happens, like what's happening in North Carolina, then guess who is the first people to be there? It's men. All of the trucks and all of the men that are heading over to get the electricity working, or even men with trucks that aren't even in the field that are trying to get water to Samaritans, or all of the men trying to move debris and heavy trees to save people's lives. It's interesting how social media and society paints these men as if they're useless and they're not good at anything, but the moment that people need men, I don't hear anyone fucking complaining. Like, how does it feel right now to know that you've probably talked shit about men and how shitty they are for probably half of your fucking life, and now you need men to go save your family from fucking drowning? If that's not a fucking wake-up call to the benefits and the need for men in society as human beings that play their role in biology to be the strong masculine trait that we fucking need, I don't know what else does. Okay, bye.
Unfortunately, in those situations, these women turn into Shaggy. You see people over there in distress, a man goes to help them out. Instead of saying thank you, wasn't me. Oh, you see another woman or another man out there that is being helped, assisted by another man building something. He didn't do it for me, so wasn't me. Oh, you see a man holding the door for another woman, for his family. Wasn't me. He didn't do it for me, so it really doesn't matter. Unless you are doing something specifically and directly for a modern woman, it doesn't really matter. And get this, even when you do, they still say there was no reason for you to take some actions. I'm reminded of the time where a man pulled out a weapon in order to get another man to stop taking full advantage of this woman. That man that was trying to protect her was sent to jail. And what did she say on his behalf? Well, I appreciate him trying to protect me, but when he pulled out the weapon, that was a little bit much. The man was about to take you off and do God knows what to you. Are you dumb?
Why is it that nobody talks about the amount of men that are in relationships lying to themselves and severely gaslighting themselves into believing that they're happy? They're in sexless marriages where literally their wife is nagging every single day. And these women want to always victimize themselves by bringing up this whole mental load shit, but they never stop to consider the mental load that men have. And what I mean by mental load is he's looking at the bigger picture. He's making sure that she's good. He's making sure that the kids are good. He's making sure that he has retirement and investments and a college fund for the kids. Meanwhile, she thinks she's overwhelmed because she's got to take Johnny to soccer practice because she signed him up for 12 activities and 6 sporting events, and she's overwhelmed. Like, she didn't even have to do all that, first of all. But I digress. The amount of men that are in relationships because they don't want to lose all of their shit, the amount of men that can't even speak up and they're being oppressed by women that hold them down and belittle them and emasculate them. But if they leave, guess what? They lose like 80% of their parenting time. Most men are only in relationships so they can still see their kids full time. And the worst part about it is society pretends like they care about mental health, but if a man were to bring up the fact that he's burnt out or the fact that he feels like he's not good enough because he's not providing enough and his marriage is failing, then he still gets blamed for it and he's looked at as a weaker man. But yet it's only the women that are oppressed and supposedly surviving in their marriages, even though there's men out here that literally haven't been touched, haven't been affectionate with their wives, and their wives want nothing to do with them for the last 10 years. Okay, bye.
Imagine somebody calling in sick just because they really don't feel like going into work. I don't really feel like being there. But then also imagine somebody who has to go to work and they can't call in sick. Somebody else has to call in sick for them because they literally cannot do it themselves. This little analogy is what goes on between the vast majority of modern women and the vast majority of men today. You see, most modern women, I'll call in sick because I don't feel like going. Oh, I stubbed my toe. I really don't feel like going into work. Oh, I had a bad day. I didn't get to sleep last night. I really don't want to go to work. But man, I got to go to work. And I got to continue to go. People telling me not to come up here, take a day off. But because there's something bigger behind me. Because society has to keep on running. If not, we all perish. That's the difference between a man and a modern woman.
I don't know what man needs to know and understand this, but anytime your wife makes up the excuse that she has a headache to not want to have sex with you, she's lying. She's lying to you, and it's a premeditated lie because you cannot physically see a headache. Just remember, your wife will never turn down the Chads, the Tyrones, the guy down the street, any guy that gives her emotional security. Do you think she's making up excuses? These are the same types of women that will look at you crazy when you say that your love language is physical touch, and here you are spending 10 years asking for back rubs because she's never going to initiate any kind of intimacy because she doesn't believe that you deserve it as a man. And the irony is that so many women love to point out what big liars men are, but they never stop to consider the amount of times they've lied about having a headache because they don't want their husbands to touch them. And you should absolutely take it as a form of rejection because she doesn't know how to tell you that she doesn't like you or doesn't want you to touch her, so she's using a headache as an excuse, as if that's not manipulative as fuck. And the other interesting part is the way that women swear that they're the better communicators, but then if women are the better communicators, then why does this issue even exist? And don't forget, she gets this sense of entitlement where she gets to use her hormones and her period to further her excuse to having a headache. And you'll even maybe be gaslit so far that you're going to tell her that she needs to go see a doctor because she has so many headaches. But this is the same woman that can go out with her friends. This is the same woman that can drink numerous glasses of wine without a headache. But yet she suddenly has a headache when it comes to you. And does no one else find it problematic that women are so comfortable with lying about something so small? It makes you wonder what else they're lying about. Okay, bye.
You're spot on. And most men know that modern women are lying. And so they don't even question it. They just walk off. Which is why you get the, where are all the good men? Why are no guys approaching? Where are all the single guys? Why can't I find a husband? Because the guys that would be husband material are tired of getting lied to. They're tired of getting played. They're tired of you saying things to manipulate them and string them along, but you never want to be strung along. You always want that man to show up day in and day out. I have a headache tonight. I had a headache this morning, the whole day actually, but I still went to work and paid those bills. Came home and did all the housework and the chores and found some time to make you feel secure and safe and loved in my day. But of course, you have a headache. It's something going wrong within your body. I get it. What else do you need me to do while I'm not getting anything from you? But that's just my opinion. Till the next video, I'm out.